A virus has been identified that does to a human being in 10 days what it takes 10 years for the AIDS virus to do. It kills its victims in a horrible way. It rapidly destroys the body by liquefying organs. Thursday, hear how this deadly virus broke out in an American suburb and how susceptible we all could be to super germs.
I start by accepting my reality. Then I change it. Self-pity is a poor excuse for not moving forward. 5:06.
We're talking about how to rise above our fears today. We all have fears, whether they be fear of success, fear of failure, or in Tracy's case, it's fear of not being the perfect parent. And Georgette was telling you to write down a positive thought every day, something like maybe your smallest accomplishment. Maybe you just went to the gym. It can be something as simple as that.
We spend too much time running ourselves down, and then we get all those negative messages around us, and, you know, people saying, well-meaning, family, friends saying, why are you doing that? I mean, you know, you can't do that. It's going to be too tough. I mean, why are you doing that? We need to work on complimenting, patting ourselves on the back.
To rise above the self-loathing, you said you experienced self-loathing.
Self-loathing, where I thought that that the abuse that I was getting from my then husband, that somehow it was my fault. And then when I couldn't fix it, I felt like I failed again. And then when I couldn't fix him, I felt I failed again. It wasn't until one day I got up and said, I can fix me. I can fix this for me.
And because you don't expect to be facing this from a man like your ex-husband who ran, was a popular producer.
Money doesn't make people perfect. I mean, he may have had money and power, but he certainly didn't have control over his life, and that he took out on me.
How important is it for Tracy to start doing things for herself?
I think it's very important. And Barbara said the same thing. You know, we feel guilty as women whenever we do something for ourselves. We've been told that, you know, having a manicure, getting our hair done is frivolous, when we should be, you know, we should be taking care of our husband and our children and our family and our jobs. And the fact of the matter is you do have to take care of yourself.
Help me justify that manicure. How do you do that?
Well, that's the point. You see, we shouldn't have to apologize for spending a little bit on ourselves, a little bit of time, because we're made to feel guilty if we do. We can't, it's hard
to take care of others if we don't feel good about ourselves. And we owe it. We deserve it. And that's something we have a hard time saying. I deserve a little bit for me. I deserve it.
In Barbara's case, could we focus in on maybe what a useful first step might be, a real practical first step? In other words, if she needs every week an hour for herself, should she just like think of something she truly enjoys doing for herself?
I think the first step is to start small steps. You change your life with small steps. You change it with the big things. But I know for myself, you start with take 5 minutes. Leave the house for 5 minutes. And have someone with you, obviously with your children. And when you get back, you're going to see that everything's all right. And the next day you can take a little more time. And ultimately, you'll get up to that 20 minutes a day for yourself, where you will know that they're all right. But you take it, you almost have to condition yourself. Barbara, you will find that your children, when you get home today, are terrific. You'll find that they're just fine, and that you took this time for yourself, and they're okay. And your husband will be okay.
But are you afraid to take that step, or do you think you can do that? Do you think you can start taking that 20 minutes?
Maybe not with 20. Maybe you have to start with 5 minutes, and that won't scare you so much.
Just to walk around the block.
Yeah, literally.
Look, you don't even think you can do that. Why? Will you try that for us?
Yes. But I know that it will be it will be very difficult.
It will be difficult.
We'll probably find excuses to not do it.
So how does she combat those excuses?
You have to take those excuses and look in the mirror, give yourself all those excuses, and then say, okay, I've got those excuses out of the way, and now I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it.
Janet in our audience has a question. Janet, go ahead.
Well, I just want her to know, both of them, that, you know, you're setting good examples and you're role models for other people, and so you should feel good about that.
You are.
Absolutely.
You know, that's a really good point, because we always look outside for role models. But in your book, you say you can be your own role model, too.
Yes.
You can be proud of what you do.
Absolutely. You can create your own role model from a composite of things that you admire in your head, and follow that as a pattern, because oftentimes we don't have the opportunity to have role models when we're young.
We're going to take a quick break right here, and we hope you'll keep us posted on this. We know you can get out and get some time for yourself. Ironically, it was a successful heart transplant that has seen a new fear of failure. Up next, we'll hear why her new lease on life to death.
And we'll hear Georgette's control of those fears.
Every day you have it black, with sugar, with cream. You call it Joe, you call it Java. In the morning, on the road, at the office. Now, imagine new flavored ground coffee from Hills Brothers. French vanilla. Enticing hazelnut. Rich Irish cream. There's flavored ground coffee. It's everything you imagine coffee could be.
This is Hawaii, paradise bound. Aloha, I'm Ed Hine Holidays, where we've made paradise affordable.
This is Pleasant's low price Rocky. It includes airfare and hotel, and all the paradise you can handle.
Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays. See your travel agent. We make paradise affordable.
Hi. On October 16th, the Child Hearing League is sponsoring a Sunday brunch cruise with Cindy Reinhardt. Come enjoy the view and live music. Call
55582.
At Taco Time, we make it fresh, and that makes it good. So why settle for food that's borderline? Try the original soft taco at Taco Time.
Fresh, fresh, makes it good, good. Fresh, fresh, makes it good, good.
Check it out, eat.
Fresh, wow. Good, good, fresh, fresh.
The original soft taco. Fresh, fresh makes it good, good.
Anytime, it's taco time.
The people here are doing whatever they can.
Big stories happen, and you really want to know what's going on. People trust KOMO.
They come to us because we've earned their trust over the years.
The eye of Hurricane Emily, somewhere out there.
When the big story breaks,
KOMO has the experience. We react quicker.
And we're thorough.
So when the big stories hit, come to the Northwest favorite, KOMO TV4.
I don't depend on luck. I make my own. Entrusting my financial security to anyone else is an unacceptable risk.
Welcome back. A year ago, our next guest's future prospects were far dimmer than they are today. Still, as she looks ahead in her life, she says she still harbors some paralyzing misgivings, and she'll tell us why. Please welcome Lisa Weidling. Lisa, it's nice to have you with us. Thanks for coming. We're going to get to your story in just a moment, but Georgette kind of left us hanging a little bit by talking or mentioning an abusive marriage and then this wonderful financial independence. That's an enormous jump.
Well,
how did you make that jump?
Necessity. When I left the abusive marriage, I left basically with nothing. I had a premarital contract with my husband, and I walked out.
Wasn't your job dependent on him, too?
Oh, I worked for him as well. So when I walked out, I left everything. I had no job. But I was determined at that moment that I would never place my security in anyone else's hands again.
At that moment that he punched you in the face?
And
was that the moment?
Yeah, it was the moment when I took a quarter out of my purse to put it into the telephone to call someone from the hospital. And I realized that I was the oldest in my family. I was the caretaker of my family. I mean, who was I going to call? I mean, they depended on me to be strong. And then that was the moment I said, the one I have to call is me, Georgette. I have to call my feminine force, and I have got to go on. And that's when I decided that I wasn't going to work for anyone again. I was going to go out, and I was going to find a way to make a living with my own vision.
Did it surprise you, Georgette, when you reached inside what you were able to find in terms of your own strength?
Oh, I said that if there was ever a time, if I had ever stopped and really thought about when I was buying La Prairie, what I was doing, I would never have done it. Because everyone told me it couldn't be done. I could never, how is it going to raise that money and so forth. If I ever really stopped and thought about that, instead of just saying, going forward, I would never have done it.
That's the problem sometimes, is we probably stop and think too much about our fears, because you've been doing that an awful lot lately, haven't you? About a year ago, you had a heart transplant. Tell us what your life was like before the transplant, the difference.
You mean how long before my transplant?
I guess just before you were not doing well.
Just before I was very sick. I didn't do much. I sat and watched TV a lot, and when I needed to go out, when I had to use an electric cart, and I had a hard time getting from the living room to the bathroom. It took me literally all day to get ready to go someplace.
Were your fears then, Lisa, primarily focused on survival?
Yeah, it was basically living from day to day and wondering if I was, when I was going to get a new heart and how I was going to do today to the next day.
I mean, was that what you were thinking?
I never thought I was going to die. I deep down inside, I never thought that. I was afraid of the surgery, but I deep down never thought I would die.
So now the surgery's a year ago. You've got a new heart. You're doing well.
Yeah.
What are the fears now?
I have life in front of me. It's looking me in the face, and I'm going, oh my gosh. I sort of feel like I'm on Let's Make a Deal, and I can choose door 1, door 2, or door 3, and I don't know which door to choose.
But it's amazing, because you have been given a second chance.
Right.
So you would think you would throw away those fears and let's start fresh. But she's developing all these new fears about probably going places and what else?
Well, also waking up one day and saying, I don't feel like I've accomplished anything in my life, something significant in my life.
How does she choose a path?
Well, I think it's that feeling of wanting to be productive, and I think we all have that in us. I think, again, you do it in little ways. And earlier you were talking about an idea that you had about packaging something up. I think you act on those ideas, and you act on them and try them. Some will work.
I would like to pack lunches and maybe take them down to feed the homeless. You said, I'd love to just pick a bunch of lunches and do that.
So do it.
Why don't you do it?
I don't know.
You're afraid of succeeding at it, or you're...
I am also afraid of succeeding, because I'm afraid that people are going to have expectations of me. And I'm the only one that likes to have expectations of myself.
The only approval you need is your own. And you don't need to worry about their expectations.
You can do that once and they might be satisfied.
And it doesn't matter whether they're satisfied or not. You have to be satisfied. And you're saying you're not satisfied. You have to... It's always tough to take the first step because it's scary. Always.
Right.
You have to just do it. And sometimes you have to do it in the dark. I mean, you have to just blindly go forward, say, I'm going to try this, and know that failure isn't a bad word.
We'll take another short break. Now, we'll meet a woman in a moment who hasn't dated since her marriage ended 5 years ago. And she says her fears are causing life to just pass her by. Georgette says she has a surefire way for any woman to find the man she's looking for. We're going to hear the secrets to building relationships right after this.